Hello everyone. Welcome to the Dr. L.U. Kirplani Memorial Award 2020 being presented by the A Ward Medical Association. I'm your host Chaitanya Rathi. The award today is being presented to renowned Dr. O P Kapoor. Before we go into his life journey and get to know more about him, may I request Dr. Nisha Kushlani, President of the A Ward Medical Association, to please say a few words.
Good morning all. It gives me great pleasure to be here today, particularly because we are presenting the award to the renowned Dr. O P Kapoor. To say anything about him would be showing a candle to the sun. So we'll just straight away start with the proceedings. A Ward Medical Association and along with Dr. L.U. Kirplani Lifetime Achievement Award will be presented on behalf of the entire A Ward, who is not going to be there today because it's a virtual ceremony, keeping COVID-19 in mind. So we are going to be presenting the award along with Dr. Ashok Kirplani. We'll start with the proceedings right now. Welcome to one and all.
Right, let's get to know our recipient of this prestigious award, Dr. O P Kapoor, MD FRCP Edinburgh and FRCP Glasgow. Dr. O P Kapoor is an eminent physician, a gifted teacher, a dedicated academician, and a prolific author and a trailblazing editor. He was a professor of medicine and honorary physician at Grand Medical College and JJ Hospital. Presently, he is a visiting physician at the Jaslok Hospital and at the Bombay Hospital. He got fellowship of the Royal College of Edinburgh. The fellowship was conferred on him in 1974 and then followed by fellowships of a number of other American colleges. In 1981, he delivered the most prestigious Netaji Oration of the Association of Physicians of India. He delivered a Unichem lectureship in gastroenterology and Warner gastroenterology oration in 1982. He was awarded the Dr. B.C. Roy National Award for Eminent Medical Teacher in the year 1982. Medicine Update Healthcare Award 2002 was conferred on him for Lifetime Achievement for CME. The Dhanvantri Award is conferred on him in November 2004. And many more awards and publications to his name. May I now request our team here, Dr. Nisha Kushlani, to please present the shawl.
I'll read the citation.
Yeah. May I request Dr. Ashok Kirplani, son of Dr. L.U. Kirplani, in whose name this award has been instituted to keep his memory alive, to please read out the citation before we present the plaque to Dr. O P Kapoor.
So first of all, sir, a very warm welcome and my pranam to my beloved teacher. There are thousands outside this room who will see this, and they are looking forward to see this. Not only the award, we will make sure that every student of Dr. Kapoor sees this. And this is a picture of my father, in whose memory this award has been instituted by the award. He established the award as the founder president, and he also established the General Practitioners Association and the Sindhi Medicos Club. And his main aim in life, after he had established as a physician and a popular family physician and practitioner, was to produce better quality of care by improving the education at MBBS level and after MBBS CME. So he established these three associations, and the association now remembers him by awarding every year this award to a very eminent physician or teacher, and one who has done to educate colleagues and the medical profession. So it is my honor to present this citation by reading it to you, sir. The citation reads, Dronacharya, Dr. Om Prakash Kapoor, MD, FRCP. You are an eminent physician, a gifted teacher, a dedicated academician, a prolific author, and a trailblazing editor of a medical journal. You have been Professor of Medicine at the Grant Medical College and consulting honorary physician at the JJ Group of Hospitals, the Jaslok Hospital, and the Bombay Hospital. You have delivered the Netaji Oration of the Association of Physicians of India. You have received the B.C. Roy National Award for Eminent Medical Teacher and the Dhanvantari Award. You are reputed as a brilliant physician and teacher all over the world. You have been honorary teacher, having never charged any fees for delivering your lectures. Your marathon teaching sessions are legendary. Several generations of undergraduates and postgraduate students are grateful to you for the knowledge you have imparted to them. You started teaching in 1955 and continued to do so to date. You started at the Grant Medical College, Mumbai, conducting night classes every week for 30 years and were responsible for teaching more than 6,000 students. Each marathon lecture lasted 6 hours. You were also responsible for their bedside clinics and ward round teaching. You retired from the Grant Medical College and shifted to the Bombay Hospital Institute of Medical Sciences, where you continued your marathon teaching lectures for 60 hours every year, spread out over 10 lectures to an enlarged audience of 1200 students from final MBBS and also to family physicians. These have been going on until 2019 and are now being conducted on the internet due to lockdown. You have exclusively authored 12 complete textbooks of medicine. These include the brilliant monograph of amoebic liver abscess, which is referred to in the Oxford textbook of medicine. Your medical guide for family physicians has been published in English, Hindi, Sindhi, Marathi, Urdu and German language. The Sindhi version of this book was released in memory of our founder president, Dr. Elu Kriplani. Until recently, you were the editor of the Bombay Hospital Journal for 35 years and you have published more than 600 scientific papers. In recognition of your amazing lifetime achievements as healer of the sick, teacher of students and friend, philosopher and guide to medical professions, the Award Medical Association is privileged to proud to present to you the Dr. Elu Kriplani Memorial Award 2020 for your lifetime achievements. We express to you the same gratitude that we owe to our founder president for him providing continuing medical education and renewal of knowledge of the practicing physician became a goal in his lifetime and therefore he founded the Award Medical Association. You have done our association proud by being its best teacher. We are very honored to present this award to you. We pray that you continue teaching in the future. We wish you and your family the very best of success and health. Signed by Dr. Nisha Khushalani, President, today. Yeah. You need the other one.
Dr. Nisha Khushalani presenting the plaque to our award recipient, Dronacharya Dr. O P Kapoor.
सामने से सर
Thank you very much. May I request Dr. O P Kapoor to please say a few words in acceptance of this award.
I'm very happy and proud today because number one, the Award Association has done the best in the last few years, and I was a member of Award Association. Number two, Dr. Lakshman Kriplani was very friendly with me and not many people know that we used to meet and discuss problems of general practice. I still remember. And I still remember how he used to tell me that many people, doctors, avoid doing proctoscopy examination, which is so useful in private practice. So I was very fond of his whatever advice he gave me. And of course he had a very large practice. And of course when he passed away, the Sindhi copy of my book was distributed by his son Dr. Ashok to the Sindhi community people who came on that occasion. And so I am very proud today that I am receiving an award in his memory, Dr. Lachman's memory. And I am also very proud that Award Association has done so well all these years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for the acceptance speech, Dr. Kapoor. Well, we all know about Dr. Kapoor's medical journey, but what is Dr. Kapoor beyond the medical persona that we know of him, the stalwart in this field? So let's now get to know a little bit more about him. This time, instead of having a speech, we're going to do that in a question-answer format, where Dr. Ashok Kriplani will now ask a few questions to Dr. O P Kapoor. Over to you, sir.
So, sir, thank you for agreeing to speak to me. And as we have today presented you an award for your medical achievements, but we really don't know much about the man behind it. We've always seen you on the stage. We haven't seen you as a person. And everybody likes to know an autobiography of you, or a mini autobiography. Why? From selfish interest. Because we want to emulate great people. So, sir, today we would like to hear from you about yourself. Everything that we don't know and which you feel we should know, so that we also become successful like you. So my first question to you is that tell us about your predecessors, your ancestors, where you came from, your origins. Tell us that.
Well, it's not a very good question for me. Why? Because it is very unfortunate that I had a very bad childhood. See, first of all, I don't know where I was born, when I was born, and in the passport it's written on Hafizabad, Punjab. I don't know where it is. And my date of birth has been written down as 30th December 1932. Some affidavit in the court was given, I don't know. So obviously, these are not the right facts. The fact is, whatever little I know, I am not still very, very sure that I was born in Kampala, Uganda, Africa, East Africa. And I am told that my father was some businessman or something, and he died. And then it seems my mother shifted to Nairobi. Then I am told that she married again, and later on all I know is that she also died, and my stepfather married again, and then he settled down in Bombay. But I was 4.5 years old, and to get rid of me, he put us in those days so-called prestigious Gurukul for studies. So in Punjab, at Gujranwala near Lahore, there was a Gurukul where I was put. And I was in that Gurukul for 7.5 years. And the memories of those Gurukul haunt me. Because it was not a Guru. The walls were 30 feet high. It was a huge campus, and now the Pakistan military has occupied that campus. It's a very important in Gujranwala, that campus. And this was my so-called Gurukul, where we were not allowed to wear clothes, khaki clothes. No hair you couldn't keep, you had to shave. We could not go outside that campus at all. We were like prisoners. And yes, of course, they gave us very good food. Actually, Punjabi food, all, and they're educating in everything in Hindi. We were not allowed to go outside those walls. The parents were supposed to come maximum once a year. I don't remember in 7.5 years my parents coming. And once I think my stepmother came because she had not paid up the fees. And once you don't pay the fees, there was an adjoining orphanage. They had shifted me to the orphanage. So after that, I don't know. I never saw her. It's only when the partition took place. And these people never taught us English. English was supposed to be taught in the final year. And once the partition took place, they told us to go back to our houses. And that is how I landed up in Bombay.
And then, sir, how did the partition treat you? Were the difficulties coming across? Do you remember those?
No.
How you came, where you stayed, or anything?
No.
Nothing spectacular.
We were inside that huge complex. We were given tickets, and I was given and supposed to land in Bombay. And in Bombay, I was received by my stepfather and stepmother, and he was conducting a hotel, lodging hotel. You see, in those days, Punjabis did, first of all, no education. We had no education in our whole Khandan. Nobody did even matriculation, SSC. They were either running lodges, hotel, or eating hotel, like we had Sher Punjab Hotel opposite us, or film acting, film business was all by Punjabis. And lastly, they were in the lorry business.
I see. And sir, do you remember your school and college in Bombay, which you went, I think, to?
No, Bombay, when I came, to no school was ready to take me, you see, because I didn't know English. That was the problem. I was 12.5 years old and I didn't know English. So, no school.
Were you witness to any of the Hindu-Muslim riots that are famous in
No,
Bombay?
I didn't see any of the riots. But the schools, there is one school in near Metro Cinema, Fort and Proprietary High School, which was unrecognized school. There, I think, these people accepted me in 3rd standard or something like that. And but that school was only up to 4th or 5th. Then again, I was wanting to go to other schools, but nobody was ready to accept again because this was not a recognized school. So again, I went to Imperial High School, which is at Gwalior Tank.
Yes.
And that school closed down. And Imperial High School, I did my SSC from there. We were 200 students. And I was only one who got 2nd class. Rest everybody passed only 3rd class. And this school also closed down. Unrecognized school. It was an unrecognized school.
Then you went to college at Khalsa College.
So there was no college ready to accept. So only college was Khalsa College. Khalsa College had started. They wanted, and especially if you were Punjabi. And that's how I got into Khalsa College.
And then
would you like to take this off? Do you want to take it off?
Yes, take it off, sir. There's no need to keep it. Yeah, we are fine.
Yeah.
We are okay with it.
Yeah.
We are protecting you mainly, so there's no question. So, sir, then from college, how did you get into medical college?
Yes, so in Khalsa College, I was very hardworking. There's no question. I used to read and read and read. And then in Khalsa College, I got good marks. And good marks means when I applied for medical, I got all the medical colleges. I selected Grand Medical because everybody said that it's a little lighter college, a little more fun there. make more friends.
So tell us about the fun now, sir. Let the fun begin.
No, you see, I was in Grand Medical College. Now, my problem was one. My problem was that I didn't want to be with my parents. I didn't want to be with that hotel, lodging hotel. Mind you, in the same lodging hotel, which was exactly opposite Sher Punjab hotel, eating hotel. Sher Punjab that time was the most famous hotel in Bombay.
Yes.
People used to come from all over to eat there. So this hotel was there. And initially, unfortunately, when I started my practice, for 2 years I had to be there in that hotel. I had no money to have any premises anywhere. And the students used to come there for my ECG classes. So ECG classes, I used to offer them lassi, Sher Punjab ki lassi, you know. But anyhow, in the I didn't want to be with these people. They were all uneducated and dirty, lodging hotel with people gambling and drinking and prostitution and all that going on. And I didn't want that atmosphere. I wanted to be away from them. So, in Grand Medical College, I was told already that you will stay as a parasite, don't worry. Nothing to pay, nothing to do, nobody will ask you any question.
GMC famous for that.
GMC was famous for that. So I became a parasite. In a new Bhatt hostel, in the big side rooms were there, huge on the corners, where there were 6 beds used to be there. It was something like a common room. It was not a separate room. But in that room, just one gentleman, he accepted me as a parasite. Parasite means what? I should sleep under his bed. Because there was no bed available. But there was one more person sleeping under the bed next to me. I used to see at night. And he was this anatomy professor. But that poor fellow had no place to live, you know. So he used to come late, he used to feel very shy. He'll come at 12 o'clock, sleep, get up at 6 o'clock and go away. Anyhow, I stayed in that place as a parasite for nearly 2 years, 2.5 years. After 2.5 years, I got a room. But I never went home. I wanted to be away from them. You see, I thought, and I didn't know anybody in Bombay. We had no relations, no uncle, aunties, no cousins, no brothers, no nothing. And so I was comfortable in that place. I was making friends and I had a good time.
So that must be just para-independence, just before or after.
Yes.
Tumultuous times. But that didn't affect your life at all.
No.
Grant Medical is right in Bhindi Bazaar, where all the riots and all used to take place.
Yes,
But
yes.
luckily, you escaped from it. So tell us about the fun of Grant Medical. I mean, Grant Medical is famous for fun. You know, boys meet girls and romance and
No, you see,
fooling around.
in the sense that in the Grand Medical, there was no strictness and all that. Even in the hostel, I know in my room, for example, big common room, that time 20% foreign students were allowed in our college, were supposed to be. So we had foreign students. So one was this Negro, Douglas Parmar. Again, he was in my hall. And very sweet fellow. He used to play guitar. So when other people are studying, he will tell me, Kapoor, come here. Come, let us sing. So he'll start the guitar. You got a bit of Mexican magic. You got a bit of Mexican cry. You got a bit of Mexican magic. You got a big Mexican cry. Hi, see. And all the others will look at what this. But nobody could complain. Because nobody who could hear what is happening. So like that, I had a good time. Clothes, I had no clothes, you know. I had only one bush shirt, red bush shirt I had. I used to wash it at the weekends.
So, sir, then how do you recall your teachers? Today we recognize you as a Dronacharya. Who was your Dronacharya? Who was your teacher in Grant Medical who showed you the path in learning medicine?
No, I think at that time there was no teaching. I'm telling you frankly. The honorees, assistant honorees, chief honorees, did no teaching. They used to come in cars like lords, and they were supposed to be all government gazetted officers. They had got all their flats from the government. They used to get cars, and they would come, take a round, and if it was a teaching day, come on for half an hour, teach little bit. I mean, nobody was interested in teaching. There were one or two, like we had Vernon de Silva, but Vernon de Silva was supposed to be, I think, homosexual. So he used to come and stay in our boys' hostel. He was not married. Very good looking and beautiful English he used to speak. He used to teach surgery beautifully. So there were just one or two teachers.
But you opted for medicine. What on the medicine side? Minocha Modi, Jaguar Parekh?
Yes. Now, on the medical side, we had this. If at all there were real teachers who really spent time and taught, was Dr. Minichar Modi, Dr. Jagmohan Parikh.
Yes.
And fortunately I was in their batch, always. And they were the ones who would really teach full 1 hour in the wards and beautiful clinical bedside teaching. There was no question. So otherwise the teaching, Ashok, was done by only registrars.
Yes.
See, housemaids are not supposed to, they had no time to teach, they were not, although it's a teaching job, but registrars. And even amongst the registrars, there were 6 registrars. There were only 2 who wanted to teach, other fellows didn't want to teach. They were reading for their MDs. We had one Dr. Mehta from Gujarat and Dr. Narula. Narula later on is a very good practice, very good name.
He was my teacher also.
Yeah, Narula. Otherwise, nobody used to teach.
Yes. So, but then when it went on to exams, the famous exams, tension between KEM and JJ, did that bother you, or you flew through the exams with flying colors?
No, flying colors. I mean, I was never in the first class upper genius students. I was an average good student, that's all. And every time I used to get good marks. Even in the final exam, I got very good marks, good enough to get into medicine as a house physician.
Anish Wadia was not, he came later, probably
he came late.
Contemporary of yours.
He came late.
Yeah. So, sir, when you got into PG, how soon were you able to get an honorary position?
No, my thing was what? You see, I was selected by Dr. R.V. Sathe.
Yes.
R.V. Sathe at that time was a very big name, physician among some Maharashtrians in Bombay, top physician. But he was a very strict man, and he used to shout. Nobody wanted to work under him. Very strict. And I wanted to be under him. And I had to go to Lonavala to his house to request him that there's an interview that I want to work under you. He was impressed that I came from Bombay to request, and he took me. Then he was very impressed by me. And in that time, as a house physician, I finished my MBBS 55, I got a house job, and before I finished the house job, there was a temporary registrar's job. He said, no, Kapoor will take it. He gave me temporary registrar's job. So registrar means I was waiting to start teaching. I was watching Narula teaching, Desai teaching. I said, that means there is more scope. So I also started teaching. And then, of course, I found that my teaching was appreciated. Now, why it was appreciated, I don't know. Whether maybe because of my handicap of poor English. Sometimes I used to think, because I would talk in Hindi, other languages, English, and then I would show them the physical science But I became famous as a medical registrar, there's no question. 100 students started coming, then 200 students started coming.
So now, sir, we'll go into another event in your life. Where did you find your life partner?
Yes. So, life partner, Ashok, what happened was well, I think nobody will believe it. It was decided there, in heaven.
Yes, marriages are made in heaven.
No. This girl was, for me, picked up from there. She was in Karachi, Sindh. Now there is no Sindh. India is no Sindh.
Except in the Janaganamana. In the Janaganamana still there is sin.
I know.
Thank God for
it's
that.
Very, very sad. Janaganamana, you got Sindh, but there is no Sindh. And our Punjab also. I was in Punjab.
Cut into half. Yeah.
But if you cut into half, no, so our half completely went.
Gone.
We have no place in Punjab. So this girl was from Karachi. In Karachi there was a very good schools, very advanced city it was. Very good English and teachers. She learned English, this, that. She learned Urdu, Persian, Hindi, all languages, and in their school to tailoring, cooking, like that. Opposite of what in my and I was in Punjab. Anyway, we never met. I was in Punjab, she was in Sindh. But after partition, all came. So she came as a refugee. She came a little late, so they were already riots had taken place. So they sent them in the plane without anything. And first Delhi for a few days, then some other place, ultimately in Bombay, in Thana. There was a refugee camp. And I came here to Bombay. We were in Fort area, near DPO. And so I used to go to school in the trams, From there I used to pass. And after VT, there was a small medical center where she went to do as a clerk because she wanted money. They had no money. So she also was going to medical, and so she'll bunk all the classes and go in class. We're nearly same route. We never met. I never saw her. Then I went to Khalsa College. She also came to Khalsa College because there was no other college ready to take Sindhis. So moment Khalsa College, we never met. Why? Because after 6 months, Sindhi College opened. KC College here. And they said all Sindhis should come and join. They said. They invited, we want all Sindhi. So she left Khalsa College and she came to KC College. We never met. But Grand Medical College, I also joined, she also joined.
Fantastic. And then
Those days there were 50% girls, 50% boys. So you can imagine.
Even now, 52 girls and 48 boys. Yes.
And we had to spend five years there. So naturally, you get your partner if you seek, if you look for it. And I was more looking for it. I had no relations. I had no father, mother, brother, sister. I had nobody to talk to. I said, I must get somebody. So my eyes were on some 3-4 Sindhi girls. All were Sindhi. I don't know how. I don't know why. And out of the Sindhis, the three of them were, of course, all were beautiful, and they would put makeup and all that hairstyle and and they happened to be clever. Very in the upper one. I was not. Unfortunately, they won't even look at me. I was very disappointed because people used to say I am good looking, this and that, but they will not look at me.
I would think that people will be running after you with your personality, sir.
No, so I used to put on only that one red shirt, push shirt. Then I saw this girl, and Ashok, you will not believe it. She used to come in this khadi pajama and kurta. Famous of all these people who had come from Pakistan and who were refugees. Typical refugee dress. And then she would naturally go to work as a clerk. So she had big hair, and she would not make her hair all long hair, one chotli. And the face, she will never do anything. But I used to see her. I was highly impressed by her. I said, she's a very simple girl. And all those other ones and all that. And then I looked, I said, see, I know she has very good long hair. I can do her hair like that, like them. And if I put makeup, if she puts on lipstick and all that, she fitted in very well in my image. And we started our friendship. And of course, as soon as I finished MBBS with Sindhis, Punjabis, so there was not much of difficulties in our food, this thing. But they were more anxious because in those days Punjabis used to take a very heavy dowry. And Punjabi doctor, and doctor who is doing MD, very heavy dowry. I said, no dowry. They were very happy because they had no money and all. And so I said, I'll get married as soon the day I finish my MD, not MBBS. The day I finished my MD, next week we got married in Church Gates. There is a hall of 160 chairs.
WIA.
What is it for this business people conferences, you know?
WIA.
WIA.
Yeah.
So in that hall of 160, we were married, and that's how we became husband and wife.
That began your life. It is tremendous, sir. Wonderful. So tell me, sir, then once having got married, this tremendous climb, this sharp, what they call V-shaped recovery in economy, we looked at it, your climb to success was so sharp. The change from simple to smart to affluent to, and then how did that happen? What was there some preordained thing, some event, something that made your success skyrocketing at then in your practice? First in your practice, naturally.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, I in those days, my contemporaries, honorees, we used to sit in the honorees room. They used to laugh at me that you spend so much time in teaching, and you say, and then you at night hold beauty. Do they send you patients? Do they send you patients? I said, they don't send me patients. Then why do you teach? Then what do you get out of it? I said, no, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. They enjoy it, I enjoy it. And that was a fact. Somehow I never got patients from the medical students. And I was used to encourage that. Good. They should go to their relations, friends, specialists. Why should I expect? Just because I teach, they should not. But the fact was, the name came up so fast. When I was a registrar, MD, I finished my MD. I was still doing registrar when they advertised the post of honorary professor. There were 12 people that time. Vadia also appeared that time for his interview. Sathe was in the committee and all these people were there, Shadendra Mehta. All this, out of 12, 10 people had MD MRCP. I had not done my MRCP. Everybody said, we want O P Kapoor. So I became an honorary when I had not even finished my registrar's job. The interview was before that. So the name of teaching remained, and the moment I became an honorary, I started these night classes.
Yes, so coming to these night classes, what was this peculiar time, did you feel that you are making up for what you said, the lack of teaching in JJ, that you were replenishing that? Was that your, you felt that the students were not being properly dealt with? Was that the motivation?
That is true. There was so much lacuna, there was no teaching going on at all. Ashok, I am telling you, it's those two registrars. And people who are in our unit, now, Manager Modi unit, how many students will be there? 12 to 14? The whole class will not be. There was absolutely no teaching at all. So I decided, I do. And unfortunately or fortunately, I had no relations in Bombay. I had no friends. I had no brother, sister, mother, father, uncle. Nobody. And I didn't want to go there. That's right. So I wanted to remain in the compound only. So because I wanted to remain in the compound, I thought, night time what to do, no friends, nothing. I can start these lectures. And fortunately that time I had picked up my Arab plantage, and every time I used to go to London, America, I used to go via Arab countries. And there I found very cheap, this Bahrain, for example, I bought those projectors, cameras, big cameras and all that. Very cheap, very cheap. And then I started photographing them. But that colored slides were to be sent to Dubai for color printing.
Yes.
Anyhow, I did all that. Then I said, I've got material with me. I can show, and this is something new, and projector, and I can have. So I found this Motlibai theatre, and I announced that I'm going to take there, and that became very hit absolutely. And I don't know, I could speak continuously for the whole night. I realized I had that much capacity to speak. Mind you, again, not very good English. In between, I'll talk in Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati. And I found out that if I can keep them laughing, and then I can keep them for the whole night. Otherwise, it's boring, very boring it becomes and all that. So I used to crack jokes, and it became famous. Kapoor cracks vulgar jokes.
Famous kakus.
Famous. Kakus. And
Tell us about kakus.
vulgar jokes. And then the whole crowd used to laugh, and they used to keep awake. These people, my colleagues will ask me, Kya Kapoor, what are you talking, you Punjabi vulgar? I said, I'm not vulgar. I am teaching them how to take history taking. So in history taking, I am telling them that unless you know the language, you can't take a history taking. I said, pro-writer's vulva. Communist cause, somebody comes, you think of diabetes. But how will you ask that where have you got itching? Then I used to tell them the joke that in the Lahore station, early morning, boy was standing, he's going to the school, college, he wanted to pass urine, he didn't know where the toilet, and he couldn't see it. And whom to ask? Then there was one girl standing. So he hesitated. He was wanting to go. He went and said, Bahanji. He was very good enough. He said, Bahanji, वो पेशाब करने की जगह किधर है जरा आप दिखाएंगे. So Bahanji turned around like this. बोलती पहले आप दिखाओ फिर मैं दिखाऊंगी. So the student, I said, see, I am trying to tell them how to ask the history. That पेशाब करने की जगह could mean a toilet, could mean this, could mean. And then I would teach them general examination. I was very fond of teaching detailed general examination. And top to bottom, that I am very fond of. Remove all the clothes except underwear, top to bottom examine. That became very famous. And then in Amritsar, it happened that I went to lecture. I was lecturing all over India to GPs, And there, they went to see me off in the airport. The flight was late. They started talking about jokes. And these doctors started saying that I was the secretary of this club where doctors had come to hear me. He said, Dr. Sahab, I'll tell you that Shakila Banu Bhopali had come for our program. He says, 10 years back. And he
Famous
says,
Qawwali artist.
Qawwali artist.
Yeah.
So he says, when the show was going on, we were all drinking. And she was saying, so somebody came and told me, देख तो शकीला की बुज़म में उंगली लगा ना, बुज़म में उंगली लगा, 200 रुपये दूंगा. 200. He said that time 200 rupees was like 2000 rupees. He said I was. So I said interval took place. I went to Shakila. I told Shakila, तो मुझे पर्दा खुलेगा, मुझे बुज़म में ऐसे उंगली में नहीं लगाऊंगा, बस 200 रुपये मिलेगा, 100 तेरा 100 मेरा. Oh, she was agree, done. She said, no problem. So he said, after interval, the curtain opened, and as soon as Sardarji went, put his finger, and people clapping and clapping and clapping. So there were these two other Sardarjis who had come to leave me. They all started laughing. I was serious like this. He said, Doctor, sir, आप हंसे नहीं, क्या हुआ? नहीं, वो शकीला तो मेरे 2 महीने पहले मेरे दवाखाने में आई थी. मैंने उसको ऊपर से नीचे हाथ फेराया, उसने मुझे 500 रुपये दिया. मैं कैसे हंसूंगा? So I said, if I tell these jokes, I am telling ऊपर से नीचे examination in connection with the examination.
But tell me, sir, did your colleagues oppose or feel jealous or show their resentment to your lectures? Or did that hurt you, affect you? I know that personally, that there was a lot of people who thought that that was one-upmanship. And
I think I had more than my honoraries colleagues, but they were friendly. I used to send patients and all. More than the full-time people gave me problem. I must say that. Full-time, you see, or they appointed junior people as our professors and all that. Oh, no, that cannot. They troubled. They were not willing to give a hall. They locked Mutlibai hall. You can't use a hall at night, whole night. Not allowed. What do you mean not allowed? I went to the dean. What is your problem? There are 20 fans there. If they're stolen. So I said, 20,000 rupees I give you deposit. You keep it. So like that I had problems with full-time people.
But sir, what besides medical, how did you keep yourself entertained? Did you have time for yourself and your family? I know you're very fond of music,
No,
but
it's unfortunate that during my first 20 years, I worked so hard day and night, because whole night I'll take lecture on Friday night. Saturday, Sunday I never worked in Bombay. I was always touring. I wanted to see the GPs of India, I wanted to study, because I had realized that I have done something wrong in my teaching. I'm in teaching, and everybody said, up to now they talk, O P Kapoor means big spleen means either malaria or Kala Azar or chronic myeloid leukemia. Nothing else, finished. I used to teach all this. But in the practice, when I found common cold, giddiness, cough, this asthma, this different altogether. And I felt, what am I teaching? How will they practice when they become doctors? So I wanted to see the GPs stand, what is happening. And I went all over India and delivering lectures, and I found out that there was definitely a gap. Poor GPs didn't know nothing at all. Nobody had taught them anything, and even I was learning myself. So I thought I've learned, let me start teaching them. And the first lecture I remember I held in Khalsa College, I didn't get a hall anywhere. So Khalsa College people were very happy. They gave me hall, 600 GPs, first lecture, 1960 came. That time there was nothing like continuing medical education.
No.
Like what Kriplani thought of, there's no concept. And the patients used to laugh. कि हमारा डॉक्टर पढ़ने को जाता है वो तो डॉक्टर है वो सीखने को क्या जाए कपूर क्या सिखाता क्या है so this is what I started that time, that CME. Then I went around whole India, did CME. Then of course doctors realized that you can improve, and they were naturally they were treating me like God, because their practice picked up, they were understanding what they're doing, patients are happy.
But so what happened to your family life? Now we come back. Did the family accept it?
What family you expect? Friday, I whole night I speak. Saturday morning I will leave Bombay, either by air or plane or train or wherever, and go to that and reach there. Saturday evening I'll lecture for 3 hours. Sunday I'll lecture in the morning for 5 hours.
Did the family resent it?
I don't even remember how I brought up my 2 sons, but what I remember is how I brought up my grandchildren. Not many people will have that privilege. You see, when my grandchildren were there, I changed my life already. JJ had retired, Jasrog I left everywhere, and my grandchildren, I more or less brought them up. And today, all of them, one girl is a nephrologist in America, granddaughter, one son is a robot engineer in Singapore.
Wow.
One is chemical engineer here, one daughter again, Calcutta engineer. I brought them up with the one, not in Calcutta, the one who in Bombay. But my children, I don't remember I spent any time with them.
But did you have time for yourself?
So my wife,
Your wife, yourself.
My wife, that Sindhi wife, has made my life, I tell you so. I have so soft corner for Sindhis, soft corner for Lachman Kriplani, because I could see she had some qualities in her. She also did her MBBS, then she did DGO, then she wanted to become an anesthetist. She did anesthetist job, she did gynecology job. But at the back of her mind, she had only one ambition, that I should be successful. So when I started my practice, she was doing blood and pathology tests and urine of my patients, helping me to come up.
Fantastic.
When I increased my practice, shifted to Khadi Bandar, I saw a lot of allergy that time, bronchial asthma, this, that. So I told her to do allergy course in Delhi for 2 weeks. She went to Delhi, did allergy course. She was doing my allergen tests of my patient. And later on I found out endoscopy came. I found this, my Vijay Vakil bought it, gastroscope.
Yes.
Then Sharad Shah bought. I said, they are all buying, I can buy. So why can't she do that? She was an anesthetist. So I told Sharad Shah, my assistant, Sharad, will you teach my wife? How long will it take? No, 2-3 months, I got a lot of patients. 15 days she learned endoscopy.
Fantastic.
15 days. Because she was an anesthetist, she had no problem. Then I bought an endoscope. Ashok, she did endoscopy of all my patients, but there was a condition. She will not do any patient outside
your practice.
my practice.
That's fair. Because that protects her.
See the sacrifice which she has done. And my patient used to be so happy, Everybody and all that, put a camera and all that. No, don't shy, don't
But I know,
shy.
sir, you're also fond of music and movies. So tell us about the Kapoor family and why the children are Shashi and Shami and Rishi, and please tell us about that.
You see, I always believe in God. I said even today in my lecture I was telling those doctors, God you must be. And because there is something like God. God helps you. God gives you some chances. Like in 1960, I didn't know anybody in Bombay. I didn't know how can you start practice like that? But it happened by chance. Actually, when I came to Bombay from Punjab, I had 2 things in my mind. First thing was to become a film actor. Because everybody said you are good looking. And at that time, you'll be surprised, in 60, there was only Raj Kapoor RK studio in the eastern suburbs. He was the king of film industry that time, RK studio. And on the other side, on the western side, there was this B.R. Chopra. Both Punjabis, they had the full film industry in their hands, And it happened that Raj Kapoor's father was Prithviraj Kapoor. Now, Prithviraj Kapoor himself was the top personality. He was supposed to be the father of like a nation, you call it, the film industry. And it happened 1960. Prithviraj Kapoor was hardly 62 years old. He was running fever. Nobody could diagnose. And I had, in my hotel, the owner was Parsi fellow who had not married, who had adopted Mubarak film actor. Mubarak was like an Akbari. So Mubarak was very fond of my diagnosis. And one day he told me that, Mommy, I want to take you to Prithviraj Kapoor. Nobody can diagnose. I know you will diagnose. Prithviraj Kapoor, I was shocked. I was so young and I was so... And he took me there. And there were so many reports, so many doctors, they've seen blood tests, this thing. I said, I don't want to see all that. I want to hear him. What is the problem? I spent half an hour on his fever. When it came, how did it... And I found it was typical Pell-Epstein type of fever, Hodgkin disease. Typical. You get the spikes, high fever, itching, high sweating, then 2 weeks no fever. I tried to palpate, I found one gland here in the armpit. And I told them, that time, he is suffering from Hodgkin disease. They were shocked. Yeah, Prithviraj was very clever. He said, what is it? I said, cancer. Cancer means I'll die? I said, yes. When? Not immediately. I said, don't worry. You will survive 2-3 years. He said, I've got to do some 10-12 films. You'll be able to do, no problem. You chalk out your period when you have no fever. Do shooting. He was very impressed. I was very impressed that he was so bold. Accepted. Then they took him to America. They did biopsy, confirmed Hodgkin disease. So this news spread in the whole film industry. See, that is how I started getting film people. That is how I used to see them dressing. I said I should dress well and all that. I should buy. And the suits I used to buy when I used to go to these Arab countries and in London. I used to buy 10 suits I used to bring in. And so cars also. I had no money to buy a new car. I'm telling you. I didn't buy a new car for nearly 20 years or 10 years. I could buy only second-hand car. So those days, second-hand cars, they gave higher-end purchase. So they were lying in Hughes Road, second-hand car, 200 rupees per month. take away the car. And usually big cars, American cars. So I started with big cars. And then in the film industry, my name went up. But see, in the back of my mind, when I came, I wanted to be a film actor. Because I didn't get, I became a doctor. And I became a specialist. So I was telling God, what did you think? How did you send me in this film industry? After becoming a doctor? Good. And then again, this news spread, but Raj Kapoor's family, he was saying in here, Santa Cruz, where there is a theatre now.
Yeah.
His Chopra was there, and his wife, he didn't stay with his wife. Wife was in Matunga. Children, Raj Kapoor there, in Chembur, Shami Kapoor here, in Malabar Hill, Shashi Kapoor in Atlanta. So nobody came to me after that, his family. But it took very little time when the news spread, when Dr. Bali, he is GM side.
Yes, Vijayant.
Very handsome doctor. And what a beautiful dress he used to wear. And what his English, my God, his English was like a European he used to talk. And handsome fellow. He was Raj Kapoor's friend and family doctor. And it happened, to my good luck, that one day he could not diagnose something he had. And he called me. And Raj Kapoor became all right. Raj Kapoor was very impressed. From that time, Raj Kapoor started sending me film people, you know. And Mukesh came. You see, I used to sing in the Gurukul there. They used to make me sing the religious song. My voice was good. But singing religious song. And Mukesh came. I was interested. He was a singer. Mukesh, I made him live a useful life. Otherwise, he had a miserable life. Because Mukesh, Raj Kapoor brought him, saying that my doctor will diagnose you. You tell him everything. And as soon as Mukesh came, sat down and said, Mukesh ji, क्या प्रॉब्लम क्या? राज कपूर से डॉक्टर साहब ये मेरी आवाज़ है इसको ठीक करने का है, क्या प्रॉब्लम क्या है? नहीं डॉक्टर साहब, वो बॉम्बे हॉस्पिटल में वो बोलते हैं कि हार्ट का पेशेंट है. See, he had an old infarct. So, because he had an old infarct, naturally he becomes a cardiac patient. So they will say heart. बोलते हैं मैं जबलपुर गया तो उधर वो बोलते हैं कि तुम तो किडनी का पेशेंट. Creatinine was little high. He was a diabetic for 10 years. Okay, really all these things. They went to Delhi. They found his liver also in diabetic because he was doing 3-4 packs per day. Liver was in that. Liver. So he says, अभी तो I don't understand whether heart है, kidney है, liver है क्या. Then I told him, मुकेश साहब, ये सब रिपोर्ट नहीं, वो छोड़ दो आप. आपको राज साहब मेरे किस लिए लाए हैं आपके मेरे पास, किस लिए लाए हैं? आप मुझे वो तकलीफ तो बताओ, तब प्रॉब्लम क्या है, आपको प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना, वो उनको प्रॉब्लम है. क्या बताऊँ आपको डॉक्टर साहब, रोज मैं 3-4 पैक पीता था, अभी दूसरा पैक पीता हूँ तो चढ़ जाती है, पी नहीं सकता मैं. I become finished, liver is gone, kidney is gone, I can't drink. I said, problem, you are a diabetic, 10 years, you are on diabetes tablet, what you are taking? Diabetes, एक गोली की diabetes से control रहती. Very simple. I said I teach in my class that alcohol disulfiram reaction. That diabetes is notorious for causing that reaction. You take alcohol. Okay. So all I am going to do is to change your tablet from diabetes to some other tablet. From tomorrow you start drinking 4 packs per day. He had stopped drinking. He had stopped singing. So I changed it. From the next day he started singing. Raj Kapoor rang me. So this news went around. And then of course I used to go and hear him recording. You see, it happened that in Tardeo was the only center. Meenu Katrak was in charge of the big machine of recording. He was my patient. He will call me for good recording. I used to tell him, Mukesh ka koi recording hoega mujhe bulana. So I used to go and hear him. So I had this desire that I should sing one day. And when Mukesh died, I told him to get an angioplasty done in America because he had an old infarct that nobody was doing here or anything. I said, otherwise one day you'll die. And that's what happened. He didn't get it done. He died there. Then when I left JJ Hospital, retired, I was only 55. So I said, I've got a long life before me, and let me desire, my two desires I had to play tennis and to sing. Tennis, in childhood, I didn't know what is tennis. I didn't know what's a club in my childhood. So now was the time I said I should do both. So tennis in the afternoon, 3 to 4 in the afternoon, and music. And by that time I had a large practice. I had so much money with me. So I had got a whole orchestra for me. And that I had that man, I mean, the top people in Bombay. Talat Mahmood could not believe he had a tabla, dholak man. If you see Talab's songs, many of them, the dholak is there in addition to tabla and all that. I had those people with me. And the fellow who played synthesizer, top man. And I started buying those books of film songs and started singing. And my voice was good coming out. And my rhythm, I think there is a rhythm center in the brain, I read about it. That my rhythm is so good, I could pick up and sing anybody's song. And I started singing. So now Ashok, I've been singing for 35 years.
I know.
Every evening. You know, who has sung for 35 years? Not even Mukesh. All these people died young only. Mukesh, Rafi, this, Kishore Kumar, all young. All of them died. Mahendra Kapoor, all died young, you know. They did not live more than 60, 62. So I said, no, let me practice. So I started practicing. And I was singing very well.
I would wind up with two important things. One is, tell us a little bit about your Arab experiences and how you and how are you able to communicate? I mean,
So when I got Jasro opened, I got the attachment, and whole Bombay was full of Arab patients. They had got just dollars that time. They wanted to spend. They didn't want to. I used to ask them, why don't you go to Pakistan? No, they daru nahi, women nahi. Here we got women, we got daru, we got everything. So, and doctors, and good doctors, Bombay's doctors are supposed to be good. But unfortunately, nobody learned the language. That was the biggest weakness of Bombay doctors. They didn't learn the language. With the result, without understanding what they have got. They were removing piles, removing appendix, removing all these things. You know. Arabs were not very happy. But my main, I think, in life, what helped me was picking up languages. I was a Punjabi, Sindhi I picked up Sindhi, Hindi I knew, Urdu I knew from there, Punjab, and then Marathi, Gujarati I picked up very fast. And when this Arab started, I was hearing them, just like they would come, I had no Arabic, I would hear them talking. So I picked up, I said, I can speak, I think. So I started few words, and I started speaking. And then I made my book, where I made my, how to ask only history taking. I knew nobody is taking history. What is your complaint? Past complaint, and then personal history, urine, stool. So all 70, 80 years people used to pass urine at night 4 times. Nobody asked them. And they did not tell. See, that is the point. They didn't speak, they thought it is old age. They were not. So with the result, when I started taking all the history, and then nobody used to examine them. And my formula, top to bottom, remove all the clothes. I started examining them. Nobody had touched them. I would remove the clothes, top to bottom examine. And Arab women, I examined them, and you will not believe it. I had 2 girls in my clinic helping me to examine female patients. The worst Arabs are Saudis. So they will allow me to touch the finger also, in the sense, here they would wear those leather thing.
yes,
Here, complete leather.
mask, yeah.
I used to examine them fully. You know, this is the method of examining. Mama. So they had never felt any doctor examining them. That is how my name came up in Arab countries. And then it became so famous that I saw and from Bahrain, this migraine patient made my name. Because I used to get migraine, I used to stop all the drugs, they were all iatrogenic headaches, analgesic headaches. And then Bahrain to Dubai, it spread Dubai to Abu Dhabi. It's like one India only. From Abu Dhabi, it went to Muscat. From Muscat, I went to Qatar. from Qatar, I went to Saudi Arabia, from Saudi Arabia to Yemen.
Sir, now.
So one Arab
Yeah,
patient,
please
I want to
tell us,
tell you
do
one.
tell us, do
See
tell
the
us. Yes,
beauty of Arab, I used to love them. I used to love Arab patients. They were very, an amount of presents they've given me in my life, you cannot imagine. Full fees they'll give. Not, but Hadiya means they have to give Hadiya to every doctor, not me.
Yeah.
Others also, everybody got it. But you can't believe it. But one moment I could speak to them, they will not have even anybody else in me. I remember one, the Queen of Dubai. I went to her palace and she in the huge bedroom, 5 women. Those are. She first told them Rukhsat. All 5. Only I and she. That much faith she had. And then they would come and I would ask everybody, urine, stool, sex. So the moment I talk sex, nobody will ask, doctor. So this Arab patient, I was teaching them that when the commonest complaint is a small, penis is very small. So this Abdullah fellow in my clinic, Doctor Kapoor, big move, so doctor. And he started this, Hamuda is acidity, everybody has got. They should understand, that's all. Yebos is constipation, everybody has got. Then, when I took him inside, removed the clothes, I said, Zib, Mushkil, Zib means name of penis. And he, why doctor? Why doctor? Doctor, the Zib, Sagir. And I want Kabir. And Dr. Kapoor, we should do. Then half English is, Doctor, who will do it? Sagir, Kabir. Then I saw he had a big paunch. So I always said, big paunch means half the penis gets buried. So you have to just push the paunch. And I had a mirror in my practice. I've been showing to the doctor that 6 feet mirror. Because when you remove the clothes, you want to dress up. No? So you should have a full mirror. So I had a big mirror there for dressing. So this fellow, when he said Sagir, so I saw the big point. So I took him in front of the mirror. So I pressed his tummy till he, and when he did this like that, it became double. So this fellow Abdullah saw it. Abdullah saw. Doctor, I said, Abdullah, Atatim, Alan, Kabir, Sagir. He saw. Then he saw in the mirror, Doctor, Kabir, Dr. Kapoor. He's right kissing me here. Doctor, you are Doctor, Kabir, Doctor. And then he went to the mirror again, seeing. Then he suddenly stopped speaking. And then he started becoming serious. Then his face changed. Then he is telling me, Doctor, Kapoor, is this mine? He's showing me in the mirror because I was standing behind me. Is this mine? I was standing behind him. So I turned around. I said, see, mine is here. Abdullah, mine is here.
Yeah, they are really, but they are very forthright,
Very.
friendly and forthright. But sir, last 2 things I want to ask you. One, you mentioned God in a very revered way. Does science and God reconcile? Do you feel?
No.
Which is irreconcilable?
No,
Or is
you
it
can't compare.
reconcilable?
According to me, science is nothing. Science is produced by man. God has produced everything in the world. How can you compare God with science and all that?
So then, sir,
I'm full taking it.
let me ask you before we wind up. What is your take-home message for success?
You want
to
a song before that?
Yes, after that or before that, yeah, whichever way you want. Tell us in a song what is the formula for being a great doctor like yourself?
I don't think there can be many. There are many more than me in my languages, but I can't speak very proper. I've seen so many young doctors, including you. I've seen them. They talk so beautifully. There's no question of that. That's not the point. The point is that every doctor is hard work. There's no question of that. Without hard work, you cannot become a big man. No, absolutely not. And with that hard work, then you keep with CME. Because anything new, you have to know it. You have to know whether you apply it or not. And third thing is, of course, for the patients, different dress and all, according to what patient you got. Not, I mean, if I was in Kurla or something, maybe I would be putting on chudidar pajama, sherwani or something. But finally, you have to think of your life also. Unless you think of your life, physical and mental. Physical, you have to do some exercise, some hobby, some tennis, some swimming, something. Because when you retire, you will realize after 60 that then difficulties start coming. And mental. Mental is after 60 when you lose your practice, when people don't talk to you, don't respect you, don't wish you, you go down. You need some mental boost. And in my case, I did the tennis, and since I could sing, I started singing. And please tell that lady in A ward, I'm very grateful to her.
No,
There was- see-
A ward is grateful to
No,
you.
no. You see what happened was when I was becoming popular, in the sense, she called me to give a program in Radio Club when her husband died on the same day.
Taskar. Jyoti Taskar.
So on the same day her husband died. Poor thing, she couldn't attend.
Achha.
But I gave a program there in Radio Club, and one of the programs, and I sang about 15 songs, beautiful, and they're all over the YouTube and all.
Well, then, sir, you have to sing one small one for us today.
Chala.
You need some water to clear the throat or anything? No?
No.
मुँह झुका के जियो और नजर झुका के जियो, न मुँह झुका के जियो और नजर झुका के जियो। गमों का दौर भी आए तो मुस्कुरा के जियो, न मुँह झुका के जियो और नजर झुका के जियो। घटा में छुपे सितारे पना नहीं होते, घटा में छुपे सितारे पना नहीं होते, अंधेरी रात न मुँह छुपा के जियो और नजर झुका के जियो। न जाने कौन सा पल मौत की अमानत हो, न जाने कौन सा पल मौत की अमानत हो। अरे पल हरे पल की खुशी को गले लगा के ये जिंदगी किसी मंजिल पे रुक नहीं सकती, ये जिंदगी किसी मंजिल पे रुक नहीं सकती। हर एक मकान से हर एक मकान से आके कदम बढ़ा के जियो, न मुँह छुपा के जियो और न सर झुका के जियो। गमों का दौर भी आए तो मुस्कुरा के जियो, न मुँह छुपा के जियो और न सर झुका के जियो, न मुँह छुपा के जियो और न सर झुका के जियो, न मुँह छुपा के जियो और न सर झुका के जियो।
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We are honored.
That was outstanding. We could hear it also from the
Amazing,
from
amazing, amazing.